Hey guys, welcome to the Pokémon Podcast. I'm back with your host, Ace Trainer Liam.
Does Liam have an intro? I wanted to do his intro, but he doesn't have one, does he?
Didn't he used to? I don't know if he still does it, but no, he definitely doesn't do the guys and girls and everybody in between. He doesn't. No,
I don't think he does that anymore. No.
He didn't say girls. What did he say? What was his intro? He haven't done it in a long time, so I don't remember. I guess.
Hey, buy my G Fuel. There you go. That's how Ace Trainer Liam do. Welcome back to the Pokémon Podcast. How's things been going this week, Ron?
This week, I think I can remember the entire week. I cannot remember the entire week. What's funny is that right before this podcast, I can only remember things that happened right before the podcast.
Right, your memory range is like 10 minutes, and that's it.
So actually, like 2 hours before the podcast, I was sitting down. I'm like, okay, let me start working. I started late than usual. I was about to record I was about to record a video of mine, and then I realized that my mic, there's like a ring to it. Like whenever I speak into the mic, there's like a huge ring while I speak. Oh, no. So I'm now diagnosing my mic. I'm trying to see what the hell the problem is. I've realized it's the XLR cable, so the cable connecting the mic to the preamp, which is annoying because my cable is inside my mount. Like, it's connected to the mount.
You got like a little tube in the mount that the cable goes through.
And but the cable is like hardwired into the mount. You can't take it out. It comes with the mount.
Oh.
So that's a problem. If the cable is messed up, I have to buy a completely new mount and cable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that sounds
thank God,
really silly.
My dad works in technically the same field as me. He's a photographer, has a studio. He has spare XLR mics. And that's like not the first time, he's helped me a lot of times. But it's just, I was so thankful because my day would have been completely ruined. I wouldn't be able to record the podcast, wouldn't be able to record the video. I had other things that I was trying to do between my job. Thank God that my dad had an XLR cable.
You must have a place local that you could dip out to grab an XLR cable. No?
I share a car. The car's not here right now. And one of the cars in the house is also broken. So I have 3 people sharing the same car right now.
Oh, that's very inconvenient.
And I could, like, let's say, ask my brother to maybe drive me or something. He went to work. My sister doesn't have her license yet, even though she's, like, practicing.
You Uber? You Uber? To the XLR cable?
I've never Ubered because I always have a car ready. There's always a car. But yeah, next time I'll consider Uber, I guess. It'd be expensive though. Probably like $20 just for.
Yeah, I know. I tend to find nowadays, like, I don't know if you do this, but like I'll order multiple of if I never need a cable, I'll order multiple because this situation comes up actually really frequently. Like, I've got like 8 XLR cables of different colors, and I got my housemates like went in on me. They were like, "Why did you buy so many XLR cables?" I was like, because we're going to need them. We're going to need them at some point. Someone's going to say, hey, do you have a spare XLR cable? And I'm going to go, yes. Which color would you like? Because I'm going to have them all. And the other one is like HDMI micro to HDMI, the ones that you use to plug your cameras in. Those cables always die. Like, it's just like, maybe we're just getting them from a bad place and they know we'll keep buying them. I don't know. But like, we've run through like 20 of those cables between me and Dan. It's pretty nuts.
It sucks because I wish I could use like a DSLR camera for my stuff. I've told you already, but like the reason why I don't use like a very nice camera is because you need to have space behind your desktop in order to record, because you have to put like the desktop and like you have to put the camera on like a tripod and like all the cables behind the monitor. I don't have that. All my monitors are basically flush to the wall. Yeah. So I can't use a DSLR cable.
It's more space than people realize because the tripod legs, it goes out like a pyramid. And if you want the camera to be high up and sturdy, you got to have those legs really far spread out. So you actually need a lot of room behind your desk. People don't think about that. You think, because you can't just like have a stick with your camera stuck on the top. Like, that doesn't work. The camera's going to fall over and oh my goodness, that happened to me this week. Everything fell over. I was playing Dungeons. Everything. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and something was bad about my setup. I don't know what it was. I don't know quite what was wrong. And I've recently, since you guys came over and criticized it all and said it was all awful and the worst setup in the world, I fixed it. I made it so nice in here. I unplugged everything.
And you made it worse.
I plugged everything back in. I got up and I just said to everyone, hey, guys, keep on doing the fight. I'm just going to be 2 seconds. I'll be right back. And then they just heard the most visceral, oh, no, as I watched, like, a screen fall over, then the camera, then another screen. And amazingly, the only thing that broke was one button on my mouse.
Oh.
It was a whole thing, but I was very scared for a moment. I thought I just watched like several £1,000 fall on the floor and thought, uh-oh, we're screwed.
That sucks. Oh, I just realized what my week was, even more technical issues. So literally the day that I had all this problem with like monetizing my videos and stuff like that, the day after, my computer stops, I just was not able to upload things anymore. It had nothing to do with websites. Any platform like YouTube, Discord, I couldn't upload anything. I was still getting like internet. It was a little bit slower, but I just couldn't upload. I spent like hours trying to diagnose this, trying to solve this problem. In the end, something's wrong with the Ethernet port, I guess, or like whatever gives Ethernet power in my computer or something like that. It doesn't work because I changed cables, still doesn't work. So I have to, and my computer does not receive Wi-Fi or can't connect to Wi-Fi.
No, sure.
Because it's a desktop. So I had to buy a thing that you plug into the USB that gives it Wi-Fi basically. And now it's working. But now I have to basically get a new computer. I was already going to get a new computer, but now I have to get a new compuiter too. DSLR cable.
No one else is having this issue in your house plugged into the Ethernet?
Well, nobody has a desktop actually, now that I think of it. I'm the only one with a desktop.
Has anyone got a laptop that you could try it with?
No, it works. I said like over Wi-Fi it works. Now it's working.
No, but I mean like plugging the laptop
I
via
connect
Ethernet.
I connected the Ethernet to the thing. Yeah.
Oh wow,
laptop. Oh wait, I didn't connect them. I actually didn't because my laptop does not have Ethernet.
Oh, maybe that's if you can get hold of if you can borrow someone's device that's got you must have some other device in the house like a games console or something that plugs us in by Ethernet.
I have other laptops, but wait, what would that solve though?
Just to work out whether it's your PC or whether it's like the Ethernet connection on the router, right?
Like all the Ethernet connections on the router?
Yeah, because it might be an issue with the connection on the router. It might be a connection.
There are other things connected via Ethernet, and they're working,
right. That's what I'm.
But it's not like we upload things to that, I guess.
Interesting. It might be worth just trying before you like. Yeah. I've got to get a whole new PC.
Because like literally nothing else is wrong with the router. Whatever problem this is only affects my computer. So I don't know.
That's frustrating.
But yeah, that is a thing I could check. But even then, it's like, oh, now I have to get a new router.
When was the last time you got a new PC?
7 years ago.
Oh, you're due a new PC. You know what? Scratch everything I just said. You should get a new PC.
I'm getting a new PC. And what's crazy is that PCs are cheaper than they were when I bought this PC.
Yeah?
Yeah. So and I have more money than I did 7 years ago. So I think it's time to buy a new PC.
Definitely. Invest in something, like really worthwhile because like it's your whole life. The two things that I always say, PC and phone.
Yeah, but it's like.
I know.
It's like it's a whole week of like redoing everything.
I know.
So
but
it is literally the worst, like the biggest hassle out of anything you can do other than like buying a house, I guess.
Getting a new PC?
In terms of like getting new things. What's more of a hassle when it comes to getting a new thing? I'm talking about like a desktop when you are a YouTuber and you have a lot of programs and files and stuff. What's worse than that?
Okay.
Car is like what? That's a second.
I'll agree that a PC is probably the most frustrating thing, but I resent the idea that it's anywhere near as stressful as a house. The house
it's just the second most.
There's a big difference between one and two. Having moved last year, it's getting to that point where it's kind of like, I guess, autumnal now, and the air has changed. And this was the time last year that we were beginning to move into the house. And I'm getting... the nostalgia of autumn, but also, what's this? I feel stressed for no reason. My body is preparing for moving house again, even though I'm not doing that this year, or hopefully ever again for a long, long time. Because it was that stressful. It's left a mark.
Because like it would be annoying for autumn to be the opposite of cozy and just stressful. Because autumn for me is really cozy. Especially now with like all the Pokemon games coming out around November, that time like right before like a month before Christmas.
Yeah.
When things are, like, for me, I get like the first snow around that time, or like, it's when it really is the most cozy time. I don't know.
I oddly have a nostalgia, and I'd love to know if you're like this. I have a nostalgia for like, and maybe it's different in America. I don't know if the timings are the same, but like going back to school or going to college for the first time is like,
yeah, me too.
It's that time of year. Summer holidays is over, and like here in the UK, like literally you were talking on the podcast about how hot it was and how warm it was. The moment you left, it dropped. You took the temperature with you, and it snaps so aggressively between where the summer holidays, the school holidays ends, and then when you go back to school, that like it gives me this real nostalgia of freshness and newness and a little bit of excitement, which I think by the time January rolls around, like you don't care anymore. But like this and the run up to Christmas, also very nostalgic for I started BirdKeeperToby over a Christmas holiday, so like,
oh wow,
you know, in the lead up to January, and then like launched it in January. And so,
I think that was the Christmas holiday, like Christmas right after I started my channel. That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
You know what Staples is?
Staples is a big they make a joke about it in the office. It's like a big like
office supply
company,
supply company. Yeah, I mean store. Oh yeah, it is in the office. So around school time, you know, back when I was in school, you would go, you know, September, go into Staples or wherever you get your school supplies and buy school supplies, and it was always a thing that I loved, because like getting school supplies was always just like exciting, because like it's almost like it's like almost like changing your room. It's like getting a new room, like getting furniture. It's
get
like,
new pencil case, new me.
Exactly. Getting like a more futuristic binder, or more just like getting things that are finally like your color, the color that you like, instead of just the default black, or I don't know, all the colors that you like. The color things are just more expensive, I guess. But so now that I don't go to school, I basically simulate that nostalgia by just going to Staples around September for fun. I don't even buy anything. I just like the smell, and I like the environment.
That's fair. That's a mood. That's I don't think I have any shops like that. I'll walk into like our equivalent of GameStop just to I don't know, just to prove that I like video games, even though I never buy anything.
Well, yeah, me too. I go, but I feel guilty that I just browse the Pop culture stuff and like the figures, and because I don't play video games really, so I just look at like the Naruto figures or the Pokemon plushes and stuff like that. And that's basically slowly what GameStop is becoming. Like it's more the merchandise and stuff than the video games, because I guess people download games too.
Right. When was the last time that you genuinely walked into a GameStop, picked up a game, and went, I have no idea what this is, but I'd love to play it?
I've never done that, because again, I'm not a gamer, so
true.
I only get the games that are from franchises that I know and like. So yeah, I guess literally never, honestly. But when was the last time I even bought a game? It's always just the last Pokemon game, really. Like for example, whenever there's like a game that I'm interested that isn't Pokemon, it's always either a game that, let's say, my brother already has, and again with Switches, you can have different profiles, so I can just take his game, play it, and then give it back. Like I want to do that soon with the new Kirby game, but again, I play games slowly. I don't know if by the time I start playing the game and I'll be in the middle of the game, Scarlet and Violet will already come out, and then I won't have time to play that game. So I'm gonna wait until after Scarlet and Violet comes out to play that new Kirby game. Are you interested in that game?
Not a huge amount. No, I'll be honest.
I've never played any Kirby game or anything, but like I don't know, the music, the aesthetic, it's gonna feel like Odyssey but cuter even. Like I don't know, that's what I feel.
Wait, hang on. Which Kirby game are you? This is the one that's not out yet.
No, the one that's out already.
Oh, that one.
Been out for a long time.
I've got that one. I've not played it. I played it for like 5 minutes, and then that was it.
You got for free, right?
Yeah, that's why I played it for 5 minutes, and not. It's sort of behind the curtain a little bit. Sometimes I get sent games, and I will play like the first like 10 minutes, and I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed the 10 minutes, and then sometimes I keep playing, but it's a little rare that I will. Sorry if I sounded a little distracted at all. Because you brought up like you'd started your channel just like kind of I guess the year before mine, I guess.
Like More than half a month.
And I remembered you, and I don't think, I'll be honest, I don't think I knew who you were when I started the channel. I think a couple months in, like, your name had come up a lot, and I was like, oh, this is this person who makes this content. And it was pretty quick that I found out who you were, but I remembered you had commented, and so I was just looking up, and I found on the video about Regice, will this Pokemon kill you, Regice? And I've got from 7 years ago, I knew your channel was inspired by Vsauce. The style is perfect for Pokemon facts. Cherish that. From True Green 7.
Oh, that was a good comment. For a second, I'm like, wait, that's a little cringy. Did I like accuse you of like stealing Vsauce's format?
You did. You said you thief. And no, I cherish that.
I think that was basically my first exposure to the idea that Poketubers can make content that non-Poketubers do and just turn it into like Pokemon related stuff. Like that's what I've been trying to do since then. Maybe you inspired me because like I always come up with ideas not by looking at other Poketubers but by looking at my favorite YouTubers and then translating those ideas into Pokemon related things.
Not enough people think to do that, to be honest, when starting out. Like that was genuinely like a core tenet of the channel, was like, I'll be like a vlogger who does Pokemon videos, which at the time, like I know everyone does it now, but like at the time people were not on camera. There was like M&J TV was on camera. Some people were on webcam. Most people were like showing off graphics. You were the higher end of that, showing like really like good graphics. There were some people where it was basically a PowerPoint presentation, right?
Yeah.
At that time, and that's not to slander anyone, that was just the age of 2015.
No, it's to slander.
Content creator. Okay, you know who you were. But 2015 content creation was very, very different. I had come from a vlogging kind of background, at least a little bit. I wasn't a particularly successful vlogger, but I definitely was really interested in that space and had practiced it for about 2 years. And I was like, I don't think there's anyone doing this in the Pokemon zone, so I'm gonna bring it in. I actually remember when I first saw M&J TV's channel, I was like, oh my god, I'm dead. Like, no one, like, why would anyone watch me? Because he's different. I didn't realize that he was doing what I was doing, but he's diverged quite a lot. We've gone different
He wasn't
directions.
doing what you were doing back then either.
He was doing
theories.
He was doing strange Pokemon physics, which kind of
It's not a theory, really.
It wasn't a theory, but like it
Yours
tied
was
in
lore-based.
It was
theories.
like a little
inspired by Vsauce.
Touching. We were touching tips. So yeah, that was kind of nice. It was, it was fun. But yeah, I think now like the inclination is you see people who you like on YouTube and you're like, I want to make content like that. So you just make the same content in the same field, and that's a sure way to not get discovered. I think you've got to bring something in from elsewhere. And then you're doing that. You're doing that now. You're trying to do that.
I've always been doing that.
Yeah.
But I realize I think the Poketubers in general now understand that. Like a lot of the more popular ones are just doing YouTuber vibey kind of videos. Like just, it just seems like YouTubers who play Pokemon instead of Poketubers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the successful Poketubers are now YouTubers who play Pokemon and not just Poketubers. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
I repeated my point twice. Should I repeat
I know,
it
and
again?
that second, the repetition actually, because I was confused after the first one, but that was the one that looked in for me. But just in case I'm a little confused.
I actually forgot what I said.
Okay, I think you said that everyone's a Poketuber and no one's doing YouTube. I think. I vaguely remember.
Oh, that would be bad.
If that was your point.
But speaking on like comments on a video, so we've been getting not a lot of comments, a few comments, realizing that I'm being a bit more combative, or like I'm not just acting super happy and agreeing with what you say on the podcast anymore. I'm acting like an actual person.
I've worn you down. So you're exhausted.
Now that we're actually like really good friends, and like we've taken it to the next level where I actually have met you, stayed at your house for weeks. We're very comfortable with each other.
We kissed.
That was a secret, but okay. I'm gonna be more sarcastic and like sound more rude to you, because that's how friends are, right? Because at the end of the day, you try to push the boundaries, because that's how a healthy friendship should be. But then people who don't know our relationship
don't know
as Ron being rude to Toby for some reason. Please don't think that, because it's gonna get worse. I'm gonna be even like, I want to get to the point where like I can say anything to Toby and people are entertained without them being like, Ron was off today. Ron was being a little weird. Like, no, the whole point is to just, I want to be able to say whatever I want to say. I want Toby to be able to say whatever he wants to say to me.
Yeah. You know, that is kind of can be a bit of a dance with friendships. That level of like,
you never know.
Is what I'm saying too rude? Like, is this like a compliment to the other person that they're so comfortable? I'm so comfortable with them that we can just talk this way, or is it like, actually, is it kind of a little bit mean? And just so you know, I've taken everything personally.
Oh snap.
I've wondered sometimes, but like I'm like, nah, it's cool, it's all good. Ron's great, you love it. Oh, you're great, it's fine. You know,
I didn't want it to sound rude, even though in my mind what I was saying, I believed it. I believed you were an idiot, even though I was just, it was supposed to be sarcasm to you, but to me, I was just telling the truth, honestly.
You're just saying how you felt, and I like that we have that kind of honest, open relationship. I tell you why you're probably going to get it more than me as well. It's because I'm so scared of saying the wrong thing on the internet sometimes that I wonder how. I think you'll push the boundary more than I'll push the boundary. I'll still do it. I'll say mean things
because that's how the podcasts that I watch are entertaining.
Yeah.
By actually being really, really good friends with the other hosts and being able to say anything they want to, and the audience knows that was just a joke. They're not rude to each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll break the bubble a little bit. Everyone is cool. I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't be on the show if we had actual legit. There wouldn't be a show. We wouldn't be doing it. It's, you know.
Well, honestly, the same thing. So before the podcast, you're like, "Hey, Ron, are you okay?" Because I'm like, I conserve my energy until I need to be happy.
I was worried. You seemed really, and you're right. You conserve your energy, and that's a choice. I was like,
well, I could still be sad right now. I'm just like good at faking.
Are you sad right now?
I got some bad news today, but like, again, it's like if it was actually bad, I wouldn't do I would be like, let's delay the podcast. So it's like you don't have to ask, hey, what's wrong? Because if it's something that's really bad, I'll say, hey, let's delay the podcast. If it's not bad enough, I'll actually just bring it up on the podcast.
What is it? Dare I ask?
Okay, so it's not bad enough to delay the podcast, but it's not something I can discuss with the public.
Okay.
So it's like I could bring it up to you after. But it's like, I didn't want to bring it up before because, again, you naturally, whenever I bring something up, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, do you need a minute? Or, like, do you need to, like, take time off? I'm like, I want to do the podcast. I have to do something after this. Let's record the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want you to now try to comfort me for 20 minutes, which is not a bad thing. Like, you can do that if you want. But it's like,
stop being nice. Go away. I'm gonna get on. That's fair. I understand.
No, but I mean, you've noticed that, like, whenever you ask me, like, whenever we get into the call, and you're like, oh, how's your day going? And then you realize, oh, wait, let's just talk on the podcast.
We'll just talk about it on the podcast.
So the same thing with any, like, bad news. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Sure. It's it's an odd thing that we're doing because we don't talk really much off the podcast at the moment, apart from to discuss podcast things, because a lot of our time catching up is here on the show. So we have a dynamic very specific and different to any other friendship that I currently have, because I don't start other conversations with people. You know, I'll start most conversations with, how are things going? Are you good? What's the gossip? What's the tea? What's happening? Give me the drama. I want all the juicy details. Tell me about who's, you know, what's going on in the world, so that I can use that information against them, because information is power. So that's how I start every conversation. But with you, I have to say, no, let's save it for the podcast. And so it's like, it's just different is all.
Yeah, unless it has to do with money.
Oh, yeah. Money. I don't know what that was.
He did like the Mr. Crab hands.
Yeah, money. Give it to me.
I was grilling Toby before the pod. Let's see if you guys actually agree with me, or, like, again, there's nothing to agree. It's like there's no right or wrong on this.
Right.
But it's like, does Toby propose less topics than I do on the podcast?
Right. Okay. I see how.
I don't know.
Let's talk about turtles.
I mean, that's interesting to know. Like, are you, like? I guess I'm constantly thinking about what I'm interested in, because, like, I guess I also I don't see a lot of people. I don't get to have a lot of talking conversations with a lot of people. So I'm constantly bottling up all the things I want to say and all my interests, especially for this podcast. While you maybe get to exhaust all the things you want to say with all the people around you. So you're not just holding in all the interests in your mind or all the things that you just want to hear opinions on.
Yeah, that checks out, actually. That probably lines up. And also, like, there's so much of what I think about, it's either Pokemon or it's, like, mental health related at this point in time. So it's like...
Yeah, well, that's what it seems like. All the topics you propose are Pokemon or mental health.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the two things that, like, I'm not really thinking about a lot else at the moment, which is probably not super healthy. I don't know. I could really do with, like, maybe just a couple other hobbies to come into my life so that I have more to talk about. And
then when, like, let's say I do propose something, the question is, do you give, like, just one sentence answers, or are you actually, like, pondering what I'm asking you? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I just gave you a random topic right now, would you be like, yes or no, and then move on, or are you going to actually, like, think of what your opinion is on that subject?
Depends on the subject. I guess it depends on my level of interest on the subject. Like, this very topic that we're talking about, on my ability to talk about topics, I'm relatively invested in that. So, like, I guess it just depends on how interested I am on the topic. There have definitely been topics, and I can't think of any specifically right now, that you've brought up, and I've just thought, like, I don't know. I've just got no opinion on this. I've never even thought about this. I don't think I'll ever think about this ever again. But then there are other topics. You brought up, like, there was one about languages you were talking about. And I just thought that was so interesting. And I was like,
okay, cool.
And then I'm like in that, you know?
I guess people rarely propose topics to me. So I don't know how I would respond when someone just gives me a random topic that I wasn't even thinking of. I don't know if I would be able to just, like, roll with it and just speak about it for 30 minutes. I would like to know. Maybe that's why this podcast could be really cool exercise for that. Not like, I'm not saying right now, but, like, all episodes, propose a topic that I would not think about. And I want to see if I'm able to just, like, go with the flow, because that's healthy. That would help. It would definitely help my social interactions if I was able to just
I'll tell you what,
get over myself.
Here's another element of this, is that, like, I don't want to, like, hijack the conversation in a totally left turn direction, because I don't want to... It doesn't mean
left turn.
Yeah.
Like, when I propose a topic, is it left turn?
Not normally. Sometimes, and when you do, it's a good thing because it's really interesting and fresh. Okay, but for some reason...
you do it too, I guess.
For some reason, when I do it, I feel like, oh, let's stop talking about whatever we were talking about, because that's not interesting. Let's talk about whatever Toby's thinking about today. And I don't want to, like, I feel like that would be too... Maybe I should just have more confidence in, like, the thing that I'm thinking is interesting. Let's just talk about it. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely appreciate when you roll with what I'm talking about, because that's what, obviously I would like that. And there are actually times when you will interrupt me, and I was thinking about continuing with the conversation, but then you would talk about you would talk about what we were talking about, but your version, when I just want to continue talking about whatever I want to say.
Yeah.
And then I forget what I wanted to say, and then I don't get to say what I want to say. But that's how conversation works in general. That's not a good or bad thing. So you're going to inadvertently cut me off and stop me from saying what I want to say without even trying. so it shouldn't be a worry, because that's just how natural if you are confident in thinking, if you confidently think that what you're about to say is more interesting than what I'm saying, do it, because that's going to make for a better podcast.
We should talk about turtles, though. I did say we should.
That's a very boring conversation.
What are you talking about? Wow. Okay, so I tried it once. I put myself out there. I was vulnerable with you just now. I really just put my turtle on my sleeve.
Do you like turtles?
I do, actually. They're one of my favorite animals, and I don't know why. I think they're really cool.
So it's funny that this has nothing to do with turtles, but it's what reminds, because I'm just able to, like, connect different topics with each other. But, like, so you remember the turtle kid? The kid is like, I like turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So now that we have our version of that for 2022, which is the corn kid. You seen the corn kid?
I love the corn kid. He's so enthusiastic about corn. It's the most beautiful thing. And you know what?
He's a British kid, yes.
Okay. No, that's not what I was going to say. This is disgusting. One of our favorite partner things that me and Phoebe love to do together, this is very intimate, is we like popping each other's spots. Okay, that's what we love to do.
And I don't like to hear that.
I know it's gross.
That's the opposite of what I like to do.
The reason that this loops around what we were just talking about.
I'm actually disgusted by that. Not gonna lie.
It gives the juice.
Oh, shut up! No! That's like dude, when I even pop my own pimples, I literally get a shiver and like I don't.
Oh, sorry. We'll stop.
I literally, my stomach turns and it's like I'm about to throw up.
I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, I'm about to throw up, dude.
No, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right.
What's crazy? I don't verbally make fun of people, but like in my mind, whenever I see people like gag over something that doesn't matter, like let's say they're watching a show and there's some gore and people are like, oh, like they gag. I'm like, it's just a show. Like, why are you gagging? Like, stop being over dramatic. But now you just made me think of that, and that made me gag a little bit. Oh.
I'm so sorry. I did not expect that to have that reaction. I'm so sorry.
No, that's good.
Do you know, I have that. That's the feeling, the roller coaster feeling. That's the it's weird. Like not quite a gag, but
when
like
you're on a roller coaster, not thinking about it. I'm assuming.
No, when I'm watching someone on one, not when I'm on one. When I'm like watching someone on it, it's like a stop, and it's like almost like a gag, which doesn't even make sense because like nothing gross is happening. It's just like unsettling. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we talked about roller coasters before. That's
I don't gag in front of like a spider. And that's like the most unsettling thing ever. So I don't know what. I just don't empathize with the gagging thing. I guess unless it's literally disgusting, like a pimple. Like a pimple is like.
We never spoke about spiders.
Yeah, I guess.
We never spoke about spiders, and we said we were.
No, we spoke about spiders, but not the ethics of killing spiders.
Okay, I freely like spiders now. It's actually got to the
even
point.
Even more.
It's got to the
point. When I was there.
Yeah, it's got to the point where I'm actually like. I actually think spiders are really cool. Like,
You can, I mean, like, they're animals, every animal's cool.
Picking them up on your behalf to scurry them out the window has just made me more familiar and friendly with spiders.
I hate you.
I'm so sorry.
I got personally offended by this when I was staying at Toby's house and I was sleeping in his room. And like I said, they just opened the windows without any screens, what's it like? The nets, like the nets against bugs and anything coming in. That we have that here. I don't know why you guys don't have that.
Well, we don't have that. I've never seen that in a house, so.
But like, why not? Like, I don't understand why, but whatever. I don't know. It's not your fault. You didn't do it. It's the queen, I guess. not anymore though, but yeah. Yeah, so there's a billion spiders in his room. Like literally the day he shows me the room, we enter the room, I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to kill the spiders. And he's like, what spiders? And then I start pointing at all the spiders. But here's the thing, he doesn't kill them. He takes them and tries to kick them out of the window, right? But then they can come back, and if he's not trying to kill them and he's like trying to collect them in a cup, they can scurry away, and then like we lose them.
We did lose one, didn't we? I think day one, and I felt really bad about that one because I felt that
because that's worse. A lost spider is worse than a visible spider. So it's like, what's the point of like, why do you value the life of a spider more than my comfort? That is why I was personally offended. Because
I didn't think about it in terms of valuing the life of the spider more than your comfort. When I did realize that that's what was going on, I said to you, I'm happy to kill a spider. That's fine.
But you never did.
I didn't. I didn't have to.
So every I guess you didn't.
But I think I killed one. But I at the time so I've got just kind of a base rule, which is like I don't want to kill. But I would prefer. My comfort is that I would rather just like get it out, and that's fine. But like you're our guest, and when I thought about that, and I thought, well, actually, no, you're our guest. Like this is like the level of distress for you is higher than the level of discomfort for me than if I kill a spider. So therefore, I will be now happily kill a spider, or not happily, but like I'll do it. It's fine. It's whatever. But that took me a day to kind of clock because you had specifically told me like, dude, being around a spider for me is like what the heights thing is for you. And you had told me that, and despite that, my brain went initially and like, yeah, you should be offended. Like initially was like, oh, but it's just a spider, dude. Don't worry about it. Like as if that, but like if you had said that to me about heights and went, yeah, but you're safe. Like just get over it. It's like, of course I'd feel upset about that. So I did come to the conclusion within a day. I'm sorry I didn't get there sooner. And yeah, I wish I'd sort of killed that first spider for you because it would have made the whole thing more comfortable for you, I think.
Well, I mean, then there's no conversation because I guess we agree. Because originally, like that day, like we had like a 20-minute conversation about like the ethics of killing spiders. But I guess.
Yeah, I think what happened was you sort of went, why don't you kill them? And I then went, rather than realizing the situation is you've got a discomfort and that I, could just do this thing. I just went, sort of as a moral generalization, well, I don't kill spiders. And the thing is, actually, the more I thought about it, I went, actually, it's not really a moral position that I've got. It's more just a kind of discomfort position. I don't think I have a moral issue with the killing of a spider. I just have a general discomfort around it, kind of grossness or aversion to it in that way.
This is playing devil's advocate. I don't actually believe it.
Okay.
But, like, at the time, I'm like to you, yeah, but you, like, eat animals. And it's like, obviously, that's not killing an animal, but I would say that it's morally wrong to eat or to allow this industry to continue. I think that allowing the killing of mammals to happen is more wrong than killing a spider.
Right.
But then I don't think there's an actual answer to that because like nobody knows.
My position on that,
correct.
And I wasn't sure. I'm going to do my best to articulate here, but I'm going to ask the comments and the listeners. Please forgive if you hear something here that you're like, Toby, there's a real valid argument as to why that is not the case. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to read it, and I'm open to changing my mind. But this is where I kind of my position on that. Lots of people view things as moral or immoral. There's a third option, which is that it's amoral. That there's not really any moral standing to this discussion. For example, whether I leave the house wearing shoes or socks and no shoes. There's not really a moral issue to this. It is just an action, right? If my moral quota sort of starts with the well-being and health of human beings, because I am a human being, that's where I've decided I want to start. Let's focus on well-being and health, happiness for human beings. That's my starting point. I think that's a relatively generally agreed starting point for a lot of other people.
Morality is all about priority, really.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do that, right? Anything else, I'm going to need some level of argument as to why that thing should be a moral issue. Otherwise, it's just an amoral issue, right? It doesn't have moral weighting, huh?
Except for killing spiders.
So, but this is the point. Like, I don't think when it comes to the eating of animals, I don't think it's a moral issue. I think it's amoral. I have yet to be convinced that it is a moral issue. Now, hold up. There is one area where I think it could become a moral issue, which is the damage that it does to the planet, because that affects the well-being of people. And that is a discussion that I am super interested in, watching debates on, and have already spent a great amount of time talking with vegans, talking with activists, and talking with people. I have just yet to come to that point of view, but I'm still open to it. I'm just kind of like ingesting more information, right? Slowly over time. I'm not in a hurry because it's not a top priority for me, but like it is something that I am interested in. So I think the eating of animals is an amoral thing. And I think the killing of a spider is equally amoral. The reason I wouldn't do it, in the same way that I'm happy to eat an animal, but I wouldn't personally want to kill the animal myself and put my hands in there, is a grossness thing. It's not a moral issue, it's a grossness thing. And that's it.
Why are you grossed by killing a spider?
I
can't even kill spiders.
Because I can
literal phobia, grossness. Because
whereas with an animal, when I eat it, I can't empathize with the food that's on my plate because it's so disconnected from the animal that it was. I am very confident that if I saw animals being killed or took part in that myself, that I would be able to morally empathize with those animals, and I can do the same for a spider in the exact same way that I can for Woody and Buzz in Toy Story. It doesn't mean that they actually have moral weight. It just means that I, as a human, because this is what humans do, am able to give that thing personification and life and character. And I can do that for a spider. Even it's just a spider. I shouldn't, it's not necessarily a healthy thing to do, but like I can definitely attribute, because I see it alive, I see it moving, I see it reacting, so for me it's like, oh no, what if I was in that point of view? What if I was in that situation?
Is it the movement that, if it was literally a plant, for example, which I think is the disparity between how complicated the life of a plant is to a spider is way smaller than how a spider to, like, let's say a cow.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Cows are, let's say, 10 times more intelligent and sentient.
Sure. It's not a logical thing.
While a spider is like not even a % more intelligent than
it's not a logical thing, it's a feelings thing. And yeah, maybe it's the movement. I don't know. Maybe
because like if a spider just couldn't move, it would basically be a plant, but with a more complicated nervous system. Maybe it has a brain. I'm not knowledgeable enough, but it's not like a brain like a mammal or even a fish. You know, like fish. I'm gonna kill a fish. I don't care. Even though I can empathize with a fish way more than a. I'm actually not gonna. I mean, I wouldn't kill a fish. If a fish is like struggling in the water, I'm gonna help it. You know what I'm saying? Spider. I'll even help a spider, honestly, if I see it wriggling, and I can empathize with that because it's doing an action that humans do when they're distressed. So yeah, I can empathize. I will scoop up a bug that is distressed in the pool, unless it's like a centipede or a spider.
Sure, yeah.
If a centipede or spider, I will take it out of the pool and then maybe crush it. But but if it's a bee or a beetle, I will take it out of the pool. I will help it out, and I won't. Okay. I'll let it live. I'd say. I mean, I could be wrong. Sentience, like an animal becomes like intelligent enough for me to like try to really save the life of this animal once it's an amphibian.
Okay, sure.
So fish and below, fish, insects, arthropods, I don't care. Like I don't care about their life. I care more about the life of a...
You say amphibian or like fish or below, but there's no below. Like everything is equally evolved on the planet in different directions, right?
I'm saying below in terms of evolution, below in terms of like intelligence.
Oh, like intelligent. But yeah,
sentience.
Okay. Sure. This is an interesting discussion. So when I've had these discussions with vegans and ethical vegans and that kind of thing, we've had the discussion, like a question often gets posed, which is, well, what's the trait? What's like the specific thing that like an animal doesn't seem to have that you think it's therefore okay to do X, Y, or Z? Yeah. And my argument is that it's kind of like grains of sand on a beach. How many grains of sand make up a beach? How many grains of sand make up a pile? The line's arbitrary. There's no correct answer to it. But I do know that there is a
pebble is not a pile.
But I do know that there is a difference, and I think most people agree that there is a difference, even if that difference is just species bias, that I'm a person, and so therefore I prioritize other people. I will start with the moral position that people... and a lot of this argument, again, has been learned. The biggest influencing factor was a debate from Matt Dillahunty and I think it's Cosmic Skeptic, I think is the person on... You can go watch that. It's a really interesting discussion. That's where a lot of what lined up with what I think and feel. In fact, I might be about to get myself in trouble here for maybe parroting back things that I've heard in that podcast that maybe I don't fully understand. But I think... As I've digested this over time, it makes sense to me. For it to be a moral issue, for me, the logical side of my brain says that it needs to be about human well-being, but that doesn't mean that I couldn't feel for something in the same way that I might feel for a person. I feel that way for Woody and Buzz in Toy Story. If I drew a face on a plant and then ripped the plant stem out, I'd probably momentarily feel quite emotional for that plant. Because that's about the human power to personify things, not necessarily a moral right or wrong. That's my point of view, anyway.
I would agree with you. If I see a cute spider that isn't harming me, isn't in my house, and it's just I'm in the forest, and it was actually cute, I will be able to be like, oh, that's a cute spider.
A cute single spider who's just...
The reason I got like heated at the moment in your house is because it really did it was affecting. Yeah. It was affecting my life.
And I'm sorry. I should have recognized that. And I think it took me about 24 hours too late to recognize it and then go, actually, you know what? If human well-being is the kind of priority here, your discomfort is more important to me than, or your comfort is more important to me than the spider's life. Like if, so I should be okay with it. So that's kind of where I sat on it. And I would be fascinated. Like I'm going to be scouring the comments of this podcast now because like, there probably are people listening who are vegetarian or vegan for ethical reasons. And so obviously I'd be really interested to hear what you have to think. I think a lot of people in that space have a problem with like, hang on, you're okay eating, but you wouldn't happily go and kill the animal yourself. No, it's a gross out thing. And again, I would be...
that's understand. Everybody understands
I would be able to personify the animals in those situations, as I think a lot of vegans do. But then the problem is like, just because I'm able to empathize with it doesn't necessarily make it an immoral issue. I just wouldn't want to do that. I'm sure if I was put in that position, I probably would turn vegan. That doesn't mean that it's right or wrong.
Why do you think it's amoral for I think it's immoral, even though I eat meat. I think it's immoral to eat a mammal, at least during this prosperous society that we live in.
Okay, so my question is, okay, so my point of view would be, and again, I'm open to being wrong about this and change my mind, yada yada. If there was roadkill, and it was, killed and whatever, I don't think there's a moral issue, and I think most people would agree that there's probably not a moral issue with eating the meat.
Yeah.
There are also people in the world who need meat to survive. There are some people who don't live in affluent places. So the actual consumption
I'm not talking about that, though.
No, I know, but I just want to get a grounding for where I'm coming from. The actual consumption of meat is not a moral issue. The question,
but that's because of the context, not because of the
right.
Okay.
I'm explaining this more for the viewers than for you. I'm doing this sort of because I want to make sure that my position is clear. If the actual eating of meat isn't a moral issue, then it must be about how the meat is obtained. Yeah. And that is something that I'm very open to, yes, I would like, for example, there to be as little suffering in that process as possible. It would definitely make me more comfortable. It would make me happier. For there to not if we could make sure that our meat is produced in a way where there isn't suffering for the creatures, where there isn't, a sort of torturous, slow, horrible process. That's meat that I would absolutely want to be not partaking in. And I'm very open to, when I learn about companies that do those specific things and specific practices, to say, okay, I'm going to step away from that. That's not working for me. I'm not vibing with that.
Would you do that if it was every company?
Would I do that if it was every company?
I'm sure that you do not check where the meat comes from any restaurant that you go to.
No,
so I don't think that's your issue.
I'm saying that if it was pointed out to me very clearly and with, then evidence. Yeah, I'd probably, with evidence, I'd probably be like, yeah, okay, I'm not messing with that company. That just sounds awful.
Kind of seems like it's most companies, but continue.
It kind of seems like it's most companies.
Against you or anything. That's more just
based on...
fact, I think, unless I'm wrong.
Well, based on what?
I don't know. I said it seems. I don't know.
It seems based on what?
Based on a base level, I think it is it's cruel, how they keep them, it's going to be based on capitalism, I guess. It just makes sense to not give them a good life.
So, okay, I guess the question is, what is it that you've seen specifically that makes you feel...
Whatever you've seen. I'm not saying whatever you've seen, the conditions that you've seen, I would assume is for, let's say, 50%.
The conditions that I've seen, the majority of the conditions I've seen in relation to farming, in relation to even factory farming, what I've seen has seemed to be not terrible. Now, don't get me wrong. There are videos that I've seen on Facebook.
If those were humans.
But they're not humans.
And
I have my line is based on human well-being.
If they were dogs.
If they were dogs, I would feel uncomfortable with it because I grow up in a society where dogs are kept more often as pet than as meat. But again, that's got nothing to do with the moral standing of it.
But the condition itself is bad. Because if it was a different animal, you'd not be okay with it.
No, it depends on what we're talking about here. The way that I see
cows don't need different conditions than dogs.
Right, and the ways that I've seen cows and sheep and cattle treated in this country have been fine.
Okay,
maybe on the majority. Maybe we're seeing different stuff. I don't know.
Farms.
Don't get me wrong.
Factory farms are pretty crazy.
Don't get me wrong. I have seen certain factory farming things, and I see those videos on Facebook. The issue is that they never blooming well say, this is this company, this company, this company, this company. True. It's always just this is all farming. No, it's not. There is farming that is very, very kind of, from my point of view, ethically good. Now.
Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be easier if you heard my position.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, what's your position on it?
Because then you don't have to defend against, you don't have to defend something when I'm not even attacking you on it or something.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah.
My position is literally, yes. If the animal's already dead, might as well eat it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was done in an immoral way.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that the way it was killed wasn't moral. That doesn't mean that it was amoral. The problem is the word amoral sounds like immoral, so it makes it
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
that is really honestly the problem.
Void of morals.
in an ideal world, yeah, I think there shouldn't be any of this. I don't think we should be eating mammals.
Okay.
And I can extend that to birds if we need to. I just think that cows and let's say pigs even specifically, are way more intelligent than the average animal, and I think more intelligent than dogs even. And I think that we shouldn't be eating pigs, for example. That's why I don't eat pigs.
Okay,
it's one of the reasons. Obviously, it's religious. Religion is also a reason, but I'm not. I don't believe in God. So it's like my personal choice is I shouldn't be eating a pig. I eat a cow because it's already dead, basically. Mm-hmm. I do see it as immoral to kill a cow. I wouldn't request a cow to be killed for my consumption. That is my position. And I also think that it is also bad for the environment to have
the bad for the environment thing I am like super interested in and like learning more about because I'm not an expert in that field. Do you not think
it's immoral to just kill an animal that is very intelligent? Again, I get it if it's necessary for the survival of a human, but in the first world country, even for poor people who have options, poor people in the first world country have more options than a middle class person in like a third world country. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
it's a difficult question because
wait, sorry, I do want to say that yes, first world that poor people definitely have way less options than a middle class person. But for example, let's say even if they have to go to a fast food place, there are vegetarian options at the fast food place. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But that's a society thing. There should be more vegetarian options in fast food places. But that's I'm not gonna blame the poor person. I'm gonna blame the industry for that.
Yeah.
Continue.
Do I think it's an immoral thing to kill an animal? Again, we're talking about specifically for the sake of food. When it comes to the range of intelligence of animals, they're on the higher end. It's a spectrum, so you can't. There's no defining line. There's no clear line on when an animal is intelligent. But when you put all the animal together in terms of intelligence, there are definitely animals that I think I have a discomfort about, like for example, a chimpanzee or like a bonobo or something. There's a level of
intelligent animals here.
Yeah, like there's a level of like that's too much for me. I still don't know that it's a moral issue. I think it's just a discomfort issue.
But morality exists.
Yeah,
like
of course
I know that we can't agree on what is immoral and moral. But what is moral for you? It seems like you don't put morality into any of these things. Even for example, I think it's immoral to kill a bonobo, but for you, it's just disgust, which is
yes.
If it could be equal as it could, as long as the bonobo is not dead. Who cares if it's morality or disgust that is preventing you from killing the bonobo? I don't care. But for the sake of the conversation, it just seems I don't know what thing is moral for you. Only when it affects a human.
So for me, the human well-being and happiness is a place that I start from.
So in a vacuum,
so for example, yes. I have found, for example, I've got a very complicated relationship with food. I have a very difficult relationship with food. For me, I started doing the keto diet back at the beginning of the year, and actually, it's not something I'm currently participating in. But when I was doing it, I became happier and healthier, and I developed a better relationship with food through doing it. That required, certainly at the time, like a lot of eating of meat and cheese and other things. And if I had only done it through a vegetarian strict route, I don't think I would have done it, and I don't think it would have improved my happiness. So I'm going to put the human happiness there up front. Now, there's the easy argument you can make,
get protein from a lot of things, protein and fat, whatever you needed for the keto diet. You didn't have to eat meat
to do it at that level, like, and to because it was literally all I was eating was basically just like fat.
Based on what? Why did you need fat? There's a billion. You eat nuts. I don't know.
Yeah, but then you're talking about only eating nuts for like 12 weeks. You're talking about just nuts and avocados. Like,
were you eating just meats?
I was eating meats, cheeses, nuts, avocados. I was doing the whole range. I was eating, creams and whatever. The point is that like I wouldn't have been able to do those 12 weeks if the options were more restricted. Thus, I would be living I may not have had the improvement in the quality in life that I'm having now. I'm having the best year in terms of my relationship, both physically and mentally, to food. Yeah. And so I'm going to put my own happiness and well-being like really high up. Now, I know that on the extreme side, someone might make the analogy that, like, yeah, but if someone's like happy, like killing a dog, like, well, that's human happiness, right? That's human well-being, whatever. I think most people are on the same page that to kill a animal purely for joy, for absolutely, and just because you literally find the act of killing the animal fun, that is to me something that I find kind of messed up. Don't know that it's immoral.
Immoral?
No, I don't know that it's immoral.
Really?
But I know that I find it messed up. I think if you can't have that compassion during the act of killing, which is why I don't want to do it myself, then there might be something off about that person, and so I'm gonna like distance myself from that person. I think it's about disgust. I think it's about the relationship that people have to personify things. And I think that my happiness and well-being in this niche scenario where it's like I've grown up in a society surrounded by these things, this culture's at play, and a big part of that is like an unhealthy, unhappy relationship to food. And I found a way out of that, which involved a lot of consumption of meat and cheese and other things. Like, I'm going to put that high, and I would allow other people to do that and not think of it as like, well, that's fine, but they're like a less moral person. Like, it just doesn't check out to me. And I hope I've made that case in a
specific context.
Yeah.
Like, that's a specific niche scenario.
It's not niche, though, because everyone has different relationships to food that are hugely complicated.
I'm not talking about food. I'm literally just saying killing an animal. Like, again, in vacuums, I'm trying to find when it becomes immoral.
Okay. Well, then,
just like you were in the beginning, you were trying to separate context. You were trying to get to the pure form of what we're trying to talk about.
I just want to be clear about where I'm coming from. But yeah, I mean, I guess in the context of like...
Oh, no, it's good that you said that because that makes me understand your argument.
Yeah, I want to be consistent. Like, if someone...
it doesn't make me understand your argument. It makes me understand your just perspective.
Yeah, like if someone just killed an animal for fun, I don't vibe with that. Because I think a normal part of being human is being able to have that empathy for things, whether that's a cow, a dog, a spider, whatever. I think that's a normal thing to do. We like to characterize things. And if somebody's lacking that doesn't make me concerned. Like, that makes me concerned about, if they can do that to a dog, can they do that to a person? And that freaks me out. So, like, but I don't know that it's immoral. I just think it's like...
Question,
like, really messed up in a... Yeah, go on, question, sorry.
It seems like you have a complicated relationship with the word morality. And
do you think?
Based on maybe your upbringing, your lack of just like defined life rules. I'm not saying that it's wrong or right how you're brought up, or that how I was brought up was better or worse. But then I just realized that this could have an effect on just how you see morality when you don't have, let's say, religion or some kind of diet. Or when you do have some kind of diet, or when you have, I don't know, body issues, and finally find happiness through food, a particular kind of food, or it's just why are you not able to use the word morality?
I am able to use the word morality.
You didn't.
I think it sounds really.
You still have not told me one thing that you think is immoral. Even the thing that we could agree in is wrong, you're like, that's not immoral.
Well, hang on. I can tell you things that I think are immoral. Like, if I came over...
things that don't have to do with affecting human life. So for you, morality is only affecting human life.
Yes, I think so, unless I can be convinced otherwise by, like, a good reason, deep discussion on, like, why this thing should be considered immoral. Which is why I think if I'm going to find a place where meat eating is immoral, it's going to be in the effect it has on human people factor. And I don't want to get too much into that now.
Which is correct.
That's like, something, I'm looking into. But yeah, like, I think that's my basis on morality is like, does it, and again, all of these, even that, it's like, it's a general, it's not a hard rule. It's generally, we're talking about the well-being and happiness of people.
Okay. So morality, at least based on definition, what it seems like, concerned with the principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness or badness of human character.
Yes.
So you were kind of correct when you were saying, when it comes to a person, let's say, killing a dog for enjoyment, is not a...
No, this is because you're talking about the definition of the word morality. But in that example, what we're talking about is the...
well, morality is a neutral word. So
yeah. But in that example, what I'm talking about is like someone's ability to empathize potentially not lining up with mine. We're a social species, right? We live in a society. Yeah. And in order to live in a society, we got to have a level of cooperation. And if someone's ability to empathize is really far off from my ability to empathize, then I'm going to be concerned about that and maybe not want that person to be in my society. But that's,
Question,
yeah.
Would it be immoral to abuse an animal? To abuse a dog,
wow.
let's say. Why is that not immoral in your?
Yes, so obviously if we're just talking about like an everyday conversation and someone asks me, is it like morally wrong to abuse an animal? Like I'm going to say, obviously, yeah, it's morally wrong, right? But if we're just getting like really semantic about the actual meanings of and definitions of the word and of what my understanding of morality is, then I guess technically no, it's more of a, it appalls me, it disgusts me, and it disgusts me because I'm a person who can feel empathetic towards other living creatures. But I also believe that there are examples where just because I like something or dislike something doesn't mean it like has moral weight. It's not like a moral issue. Again, maybe I'm getting caught up in semantics here, like I don't know, maybe the words of virtue or ethics. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, guys, so we just had an extra 40-minute debate off podcast trying to find common ground. And, like, I mean, obviously we're still friends and all. That's, like, the point of that I was trying to make a long time ago. For us, it was a long time ago. For you, it wasn't. It was, like, literally
just
10
seconds
minutes ago. But I think...
We found some common ground. It got intense. I'm not going to lie. We're not going to release that part of the podcast because we got very intense. I will concede, this is who I'm going to concede. Okay, I will concede that if the result of abusing animals, for example, is that those individuals more commonly abuse people, that is against the well-being of human people, and therefore it's worth moral consideration. It becomes a moral issue.
So
yes.
Abusing an animal, based on whatever data I've consumed at least, seems to be an indicator of whether or not people are going to abuse other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, just in general, abusing an animal is bad.
Yeah.
Not because, at least that's how Toby conceded. I would also just personally say, yeah, even if a human wouldn't be able to, even if a human wouldn't abuse another human just because they abuse an animal, I would still think it would be wrong and immoral to abuse an animal, but that's where we disagree.
Yeah, and whereas I would say like that's amoral, but it would still disgust me and creep me out because, that person could have the potential to like, oh, what are they going to do? Like, because I would never do that because I would empathize with the animal.
We just agree that a society that abuses animals is bad for human society.
Yes. Let's not. We've just gone for a very long discussion. I think definitely in the description of this one, I'm going to leave a link to the podcast I listened to because maybe I got something wrong in that. And I don't know, Ron, if you've got any extra reading material or listening material you recommend anyone listens to, definitely we'll put it down there. But thank you for bearing with. I realized
Let's generate an animal.
Yes, generate an animal. And make it fight for our pleasure.
It'd be hilarious if we got like a milk tank. Let's see if we got a domesticated Pokemon.
Oh no.
Oh, that's the opposite of a domesticated Pokemon. Okay. We got Urshifu.
Oh, cool.
Rapid
That's
Strike.
Sweet. Rapid
that's
Strike.
Just a human,
style.
Basically.
It actually but canonically it is. Do you know about this?
It is what, human?
Yeah. It's a human transformed.
Oh, okay, let's hear.
Okay, so Zacian has a Pokédex entry talking about how it's the Fairy King's sword and Zamazenta is the Fighting Master's shield. And there were twin heroes in the ancient past of Galar that worked together. So the theory goes, I said canon like it's fact. The theory goes that the Fairy King is Calyrex and the Fighting Master is Urshifu, and they are the Pokemon embodiments of the twin heroes of Galar from way back when. That's the theory. Like, why would the Pokédex entry say Fighting Master and Fairy King? Like, and then those were the two DLCs we got.
Fighting Master? And
then the two box art DLC characters.
Wait a minute. None of them are... What do you mean? They're not fairy... Wait, what?
Calyrex is the Fairy King, and Urshifu is the Fighting Master.
Oh, they're an embodiment of what? Both Urshifus are an embodiment of both
No,
of one of the kings.
Urshifu in general as a Pokemon is like the embodiment of that. So perhaps the original Urshifu, before it had, bred and became multiple forms, and, they're Pokemon, they're magical creatures. They can self-reproduce, certainly in the case of legendary Pokemon. But, and I think Cubfu's Pokedex entries even talks about how, like, that the form it's in today isn't, like, the original form. Like, I think on the website it talked about how it used to travel the world and it's changed a lot over time. But the original Urshifu and the original Calyrex, whomever they were, whatever they were, wherever they came from, their origins lie with the ancient heroes of Galar. That's the theory. It's not quite canon, but it's in the Pokedex. There's some subtext.
Yeah. Rapid Strike is the dark type?
No, water. Rapid Strike's water. Single Strike's dark.
Why is Single Strike is dark, yes.
Yeah, because it's a single powerful strike. And Rapid is like the motion of water.
Which is funny because when I think of like principles, I would assume striking rapidly is more like brutal than just one single strike that ends something.
Oh, I guess, yeah. They're interesting, like, they're weird polar opposites to each other, water and dark. Like, they don't seem...
No, that makes sense.
Do they?
I think just water in terms of... Because originally I'm like, this is more like a Tai Chi.
Oh, okay.
So...
I don't know a lot about Tai Chi. I don't...
It's basically what inspired, let's say, waterbending.
Okay, sure.
So all that, just like the slow movements, moving your body in like a flowing manner. It's like, it's an exercise, but a martial art as well, where it's like, I guess doing the exercise helps the martial art. Because it's basically like, what's his name? Bruce Lee does not practice Tai Chi. His Kung Fu is a different style. But I guess the whole idea of being water. You know about the whole idea of being water when it comes to martial arts?
Yeah.
The famous...
Flow.
Have you ever... I heard it first through lo-fi. There are a lot of... You know how some lo-fi tracks, they have like some cool quote from a show or from like an anime at the beginning of the lo-fi track, and then the lo-fi track like drops, like the beat drops after they say it. So I think one of them is like, flow like water, and then... And then... So that's how I first heard it. But then I looked at the actual... the idea of like, be like water, which, it takes the form of whatever, contains it. And it could be strong, it could be, weak, it could... I'm honestly doing a terrible job of characterizing what the quote is, because I
what you're talking about, though.
Quote. Do you remember the quote? Because it's actually such a good quote that I wish I could
don't remember
impart
the quote.
it on our audience, but I forgot it.
I've definitely heard it. I don't remember it.
Go seek it out. It's a good quote. So that's how I saw the Rapid Strike, but now I think of it like rapid is, especially in the game, in the animation, it's like brutal.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's also a play on the word rapid, like rapids, as in rapid movement of water, like, and the rapids.
I guess water is, it's like a barrage.
Yeah.
Like a water.
Yeah, I think that's what the intention is. And like, obviously the whole thing was like a little nod to the upcoming single and like strong and
agile style.
Agile style. Like, again, moving
definitely
agilely in Legends Arceus. And
which
actually
is so cool.
That whole DLC was like the whole, like, obviously G-Max mushrooms, but in order for Urshifu it had to be G-Max honey, which is like a little nod to like, okay, returns to Sinnoh, so that kind of thing. And then there was like so many things in the Crown Tundra that were like references to Scarlet and Violet, to be honest. Like, there's Regidrago and Regieleki, past and future. Open world. Of course, I'm failing to remember any of them right now.
What are you talking about? What's open world? What?
The Crown Tundra is like open world, and
I thought you
Scarlet
meant
and Violet are open world.
I thought you meant the Pokemon as hints. But no, everything is a hint. Yeah,
the riding of like Calyrex riding Glastrier and Spectria, and now we get more rideable legendary Pokemon in the next thing. Like, they're all very loose, but like as you look through, you start to notice like the terastallizing having basically acting as crowns on Pokemon, and it's the Crown Tundra with the Pokemon with the giant crown that can see through time as well, and this is the past and future. Is a big theme in the upcoming game.
Snow.
And
snow.
There is snow. And there are Pokemon in the Crown Tundra, so like...
Oh, wow.
And there's going to be...
You're right.
I heard there's going to be Pokemon in the new game. That might be a leak. So sorry.
Oh, what? And I was trying not to get spoiled.
There's gonna be Pokemon in the Crown Tundra, so awkward, but yeah.
I still, to this day, I think the Crown Tundra was my favorite experience playing Pokemon. The happiness that I had while playing through the Crown Tundra the weekend that I was playing with it, was the happiest I ever been playing Pokemon. I don't know.
It was pretty up there. It was pretty good. Like the only thing I can think that even like comes close is the Rainbow Rocket part of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I thought that would like the one thing I miss about playing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon and having not played it is I'm like, I'd love to play the Rainbow Rocket arc again. It was so much fun. I wish that was a DLC. That would have been perfect.
Yeah, but like I guess that's just even though the Crown Tundra is an aspect of a larger game, for me I wouldn't say like, oh, playing through that was the best time of my life, because that was just one aspect of a larger game. While the Crown Tundra, when I was playing it, it was like playing a new game, and like I had a beginning to an end.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? While like the battling Ultra Necrozma was one of my favorite moments. It's like battling through the Rainbow Rocket, that was one of my favorite moments, but it wasn't my favorite just experience.
Yeah.
The Crown Tundra as an experience was
that
great.
That was another nod. The Crown Tundra, there was like 3 plot lines going on at once that you could do in any order, which is like a big thing with Scarlet and Violet right now. There's like the Dynamax stuff, there's the Reggies, there's the birds, and then there's the Calyrex story, and you can kind of tackle these stories in basically any order, and interweave the plots.
Scarlet and Violet's going to be bigger than I thought in terms of like originally 3 stories, but for example each story is split into like, let's say, even more parts. Like the gym has 8 gyms. The battling the against the evil team or whatever, there's multiple like leaders and like groups, and also like the third one, which is like I still don't really understand the third one, which is like battling these titans in order to collect items. But again, it's gonna be multiple. It's not just one cloth or whatever. It's like there's gonna be a billion different titans around the alpha Pokemon, alpha totems basically throughout the region, which is so cool.
Yeah, so I think the plot. That plot is like there are these towers all across the region, and then like I guess there's going to be a Titan per tower, which I think means one of each type based on my last counting, but I might be wrong on that.
I would assume it's so. I would assume it's. I think there are 8 gyms. Weird take.
That's a out there pick. I don't know about that.
8 gyms, and there's 18 types, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's 5 more. I think there's 4 more. Let's say. Leaders of the team, and then 6 titans.
And then 6 titans.
Just to cover every type.
Every type. Okay, yeah, sure, that could be the case. I could see that being the case. Yeah, and I guess the other 4 would be the Elite 4, right?
I don't think it's Elite 4.
Oh, you don't think there's going to be an Elite 4?
No, and there's no, and there isn't another 4. So again, 8 types, 8 gyms, which leaves 10 more, which is, again, 4 of the evil team leaders.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then six.
I disagree
titans.
Because I think one of the gyms looks like it's going to be a fire gym based on the aesthetic of it. I might be wrong about that.
No, that was maybe because you by mistake before the Team Star was revealed. You saw fire, and that was actually just a Team Star thing.
It could be. It looked like a gym stadium because there's a number of outdoorsy like gym stadium. Although the gyms are all because they've got like the outdoor stadium, but then they've got the silver gym building next to them. So I don't know. I'd need to double check the map. I'd need to double check the map.
We're talking out of our butts.
Yeah.
But that really is, I think, my theory. I would be glad if it was more. But like, there are more than 18 bosses in this game. But 18 would be pretty cool. Finally having 18 bosses. That's pretty cool.
I think they got close in the Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon era, but there was like there were like a couple types. Like I think Ice just didn't get any love in that generation.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but that includes Elite 4. We always had Elite 4 members. And Kahunas, whatever.
I'm surveying the map now, and I'm not seeing anything that looks like obviously fire type. So you might well be correct. You may be correct, or you may be incorrect. Those are really the 2 options.
Toby, you're always incorrect.
Do you know what? I'm really anxious about like anything dumb I might have said during the segment talking about the animal stuff, especially because I know to some people like that can be really like that can be quite an emotionally charged topic, and like I I'm worried that that's maybe the most controversial I've ever been on the internet. So if I said anything in that segment that sounded like horrifically wrong, or you're like, wow, Toby is a morally broken person, like, you can just let me know in the comments. I'll read them all. Like, I want to be a better person. I just
Nobody's been canceled for eating meat.
Yeah, I guess. I don't want to, like, I'll take it to therapy and I'll digest that, meat free. I'll digest your thoughts and I'll have a think about them. Like, I'm just getting there based on a set of logics, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I shouldn't harp on about it, but I'm genuinely anxious now. Do you get that when we release podcasts?
That's how I get when I release any video, and I am always anxious about things I say because I am a socially anxious person. That's hilarious. I was going to ask you, we don't have time though. I was going to ask you something very similar that you just asked me. But that was going to be like a whole conversation. We really don't have to. We literally spent 45 minutes off podcast discussing morals and ethics. Oh, why do we do that? And I have to leave. I have to get a haircut before the holiday. This coming weekend is the Jewish New Year's. So
Happy New Year's. That's cool.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Well, hang on. Why don't you give us a little nugget, and then we can think about it and bring it into next week?
Okay, that's good. Okay, no, perfect, genius.
Next time, I think on the Carmine Podcast.
I wrote it down. I'm just reading it. But I didn't write it down in a good way to present it. So I'm trying to present it. I think it would be really good for me to learn from a person who isn't socially anxious like you. What they do when they are socially anxious.
I'm socially anxious right now about this podcast.
When you enter a situation, like for me, when I enter any social situation, I am socially anxious, right?
Okay.
So for example, ones where that you just enter and you're just you feel normal and everything's fine, I will be socially anxious. But I want to know how it feels to be socially anxious when you are socially anxious, what you might do, how you cope with it. Maybe you don't because you aren't regularly socially anxious, so you don't know how to cope with it. Yeah. But it would be interesting to hear.
Give me
an extrovert what they do when they're socially anxious.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely comes up. Give me a week to think about that, and I'll come back to the next podcast with that ready to go, because that, I mean, it definitely happens, and it's like it's a difficult thing.
Hopefully come back with a cure for my social anxiety. I expect it. See you then.
Cool. See you later.